From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network and Troy campuses around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Weekly.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Weekly. We're glad you joined us for this look at what's happening in and around Troy University. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Well, this week, Kappa Delta sorority shined the light on child abuse through their philanthropy event known as Shamrock Week. Carissa Justice gives us a look at how students learned about the traumatic impact abuse has on victims.
According to the National Trauma Institute, approximately 1/3 of people will experience trauma in their lifetime. This was the topic of conversation Tuesday night in Claudia Crosby Theater as the Sisters of Kappa Delta sorority hosted a child trauma seminar as a part of their Philanthropy Week.
We had a trauma presentation for our Philanthropy Week. We really focus on awareness for our philanthropy in the fall, and so Dr. Stephen Berry was nice enough to offer all of his knowledge to us about trauma.
Dr. Berry has worked with many people who have been affected by trauma, and he says he hopes his presentation was able to educate people on what they can do to help trauma victims.
We have so many people who have been wounded by tragic events, and they're not getting the help that they need. Part of my effort today is to educate about what we can do to reach out and help people.
The Sisters of Kappa Delta use events such as this seminar to raise awareness for their philanthropy Prevent Child Abuse America, and Atkins says she hopes these events will help bring an end to childhood trauma.
I hope that by raising awareness, by working towards prevention in our community, that we can just eradicate the number of kids that are affected by this.
If you or someone you know has experienced trauma, there are multiple resources right here in Troy that you can utilize to help you through whatever you might be dealing with.
Counselors available out in the community. We also have the Student Counseling Center here at Troy University for students. So if they've experienced something, they've got some great counselors over there that can help them work through this stuff.
Kappa Delta's next event will be a candlelight vigil Wednesday night at 7 p.m. at Janice Hawkins Park. Carissa Justice, Troy, TrojanVision News.
And on Wednesday night, Kappa Delta continued their Shamrock Week activities by holding that candlelight vigil as a way to remember the victims of child abuse. Seth Hawk has more.
Silence. A moment of silence filled Calvary Baptist Church Wednesday night as Kappa Delta sorority hosted a candlelight vigil to remember over 300 children who have walked through the doors of Troy's Child Advocacy Center since 2017. And according to one Kappa Delta member, the work that is done through this Philanthropy Week, otherwise known as Shamrock Week, goes straight to the CAC.
Our philanthropy is Prevent Child Abuse America, and we also help the Pike County Regional Child Advocacy Center. So 80% of the funds that we raise stays right here in Troy, and the other 20% goes to Prevent Child Abuse America.
The Pike Regional Child Advocacy Center was established in 2004, and its mission is to provide a child-friendly facility to children who have experienced abuse, both physical and mental. Platt is a Kappa Delta member who has seen the work of the Child Advocacy Center in her own life through a member of her family.
Well, having a family member who came into our family through adoption because she was abused growing up as a child, I know the work the CAC does firsthand and how they have had an impact on her life a decade later. Being able to see firsthand in Pike County what we're doing and the children that we are helping and the children that are affected by this has been really impactful on me.
For those wanting any more information about Shamrock Week or the Child Advocacy Center, you can find any Kappa Delta sister. Seth Hawk, Troy, TrojanVision News.
While many will take time to remember and honor those that serve the armed forces this weekend for Veterans Day, this past week there was a display up on campus that honored Alabamians who paid the ultimate price through military service. Sarah Weeks gives us a look.
With Veterans Day less than a week away, one on-campus organization is hoping to remind people that the holiday is about more than just a 3-day weekend. Troy University's Troy for Troops hosted a veterans display in the Trojan Center in honor of the men and women who served and died for their country.
They gave their life for everybody to have the freedom that they have today. And, you know, it's really good to have these displays because it's getting less and less important. So we try to make sure it stays important.
The men and women in the photographs not only served their country with their lives, they also shared the same home. Each of the men and women pictured in the display were Alabamians.
Alabama has this own pride of its people, and you know, to see her know that we do have members in our state that these people fought for even our state rights too.
The display featured photographs of servicemen and women, state and country flags, as well as a battlefield cross. As individuals enter the Trojan Center, Troy for Troops hopes that this exhibit will cause some to stop and consider what Veterans Day really means.
Veterans Day is all about, you know, remembering the veterans and the fight that we did, but we don't need to forget the ones that, you know, gave everything, their life, and, you know, we should never forget what they did for us.
The photo board was brought by the Blue Star Salute of Alabama. The display travels around the state in remembrance of those who served. Sarah Weeks, Troy, TrojanVision News.
We will take a short break, but when we return, we'll take a look at some of Troy's homecoming weekend festivities. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
It's the Talk of Troy. This week, Troy's assistant professor of choral music, James Brown, says the upcoming choral concert will be a rewarding experience.
What they will take away when it's done is what it takes to bring our best strengths forward and acknowledge our weaknesses, but they will also make us stronger as well.
That's the Talk of Troy, Fridays at 8:45 a.m. and 3:44 p.m. and Sundays at 4:35 p.m. on Troy Public Radio.
Did you go to the schoolyard? Calm down, please. Where did you look? We can make a plan somehow. If I just.
He's a smart boy, and he's gonna be okay.
Just okay. Try to call him again.
There's no reception right now. Everything is down.
Try.
I can't.
Try already.
Nothing's working.
Well, just
everything's
try.
down.
Do you think he's on his way? Please. Is he okay?
Laura.
Please tell me he's okay.
I need you to calm down.
Why? That's my baby. This is so bad. He's out there by himself.
Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov.
Now back to Troy TrojanVision News Weekly.
All last week, Troy University celebrated homecoming, a time for current students and alumni to come together in a mutual love for Troy University. The week came to a close with a football game Saturday afternoon, but first, everyone gathered on the downtown square for the annual homecoming parade. Anna Kate Patterson has the story.
Saturdays in the South are always days full of excitement, but one weekend out of the many during football season sticks out each year. Homecoming. Homecoming Day in Troy routinely begins with the annual homecoming parade.
For a college homecoming parade and so forth, the people are happy, everybody's nice, you know, everybody just has school spirit. I think it's wonderful.
After a week's worth of competitions, including banner painting, float building, dancing, and dodgeball, Troy student organizations came together with Pike area organizations to march in celebration, while a crowd of students, alumni, and family members joined in from the sidewalks. And Chancellor Jack Hawkins says it's homecoming that proves that we are truly Trojans one and all.
I think this is the epitome of a family. It's when all the members of the Troy University family come back, we celebrate the great tradition, and we look to the future with great promise.
Hawkins and his wife Janice have led Troy University for almost 30 years and have seen 2 generations of Troy students come and go. He says they love each student who has called Troy home, but there were some Trojans at the parade that he was especially proud to have returned for homecoming.
They're all great Trojans, right down to the grandchildren, and they love this place. They love the university. They love Troy, and we just are very proud of this community.
In the middle of the Sound of the South, Troy cheerleaders, sorority floats, and more, spectators were able to catch a glimpse of the Troy's 2018 homecoming court, including Caitlin Baylor, who would be crowned Homecoming Queen 2018 later in the day at halftime during the game. Anna Kate Patterson, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Saturday morning's parade gave student organizations a chance to show off their artistic skills on a float. But on Friday night, the groups were showing off their dance moves in the final competition of the homecoming week. Seth Hawk has more.
Friday night, student organizations around the Troy campus showed off their super dance moves in Trojan Arena during Troy's Homecoming Week festivities. The annual event is one of the most attended events during the week, and according to one of the judges, Dr. Jay Valentine, it is a great way to bring the student body together.
I think it's an excellent activity. I just can't believe it took me 4 years before I finally made it to one. I'll definitely be here next year.
But who had the better moves? Was it part one, which featured Troy's fraternities and the Baptist campus ministry, or was it part two, which featured Troy's sororities?
Definitely part two. As far as the humor factor, definitely part one made me laugh a lot more. But part two, wow, those ladies were serious, very serious.
After 2 hours of intense dancing competitions, the two winners were Kappa Delta sorority for the women and Alpha Tau Omega fraternity for the men. And according to members from both of these organizations, the path that led to them getting the victory was not an easy one.
We met roughly 3 weeks before a dance and started practicing and going through it and learning the dance. We'd practice several times a week, usually at night because that's when everyone could meet. It was really hard for us to get through a practice without someone messing up during a practice or one of the run-throughs.
We practiced 3 or 4 times a week for hours on end, and then we've been practicing for about a month before homecoming starts, so we've put 40 plus hours in, so it's definitely a lot of hard work. There are some girls who get in the piece who haven't really danced before. Maybe they were cheerleaders, but they aren't used to how the whole dance process works. So I guess the hardest thing is merging just kind of the two worlds together, dancers with maybe non-dancers, but they definitely stepped up to the plate and everybody killed it.
Seth Hawk, Troy, TrojanVision News.
And the dancing wasn't the only fancy footwork on display Friday night as the National Panhellenic Council presented their homecoming step show. Joshua Thomas has the story.
For those of you who may not know, last Friday night was Troy University's annual NPHC Step Show, in which several sororities and fraternities competed in competition to earn the right to call themselves the best on campus.
Well, tonight is homecoming week, and of course we have an event for homecoming week, as we always do at Troy University. But this week we had our step show tonight, and we had students come from all over the place. We have some fraternities from Jacksonville State, fraternities from Alabama State, Tuskegee. They came to celebrate homecoming with us here at Troy University.
Although several teams competed, there could only be one, or should I say two, winners. One sorority and one fraternity were able to claim first place after a hard-fought and close competition. The brothers of Phi Beta Sigma and the sisters of Alpha Kappa Alpha.
We've been working on this show for some months, and so I'm glad that it came together at the end, and I guess all the other teams did well, but I'm just glad that we could pull through and stand out amongst everyone else.
Well, we had our annual step show tonight. Mu Alpha did our thing. We won first place. I'm so proud of my sisters. We worked very hard to win the step show, and I can't be any happier.
The other competing fraternities and sorority were Gamma Phi Delta, Kappa Alpha Psi, Iota Phi Theta, Omega Psi Phi, and Delta Sigma Theta. Joshua Thomas, Troy, TrojanVision News.
We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we'll see how art and dance are coming together on the Trojan Center Theater stage. That's coming up right after this, so stay with us.
We go and clear the roads looking for IEDs. We're encapsulated in those vehicles, and we get blast wave injuries very easily inside of those things. I'm actually diagnosed with PTSD and multiple cases of mild traumatic brain injury. But I was brought up, drive on, don't let your soldiers see that anything's wrong. But I started to realize that I wasn't the same guy. Having more bad days than good days set in more and more after each deployment and each injury. When I finally realized that I needed professional help, the switch for me was my family. And my wife, Tanya, thank God, she's open and honest with me, and hounded me enough times to where I did go and get treatment, and I'm so happy that I sought the treatment, because I know that if I hadn't, there's no way I'd be a first sergeant right now. I know that if I hadn't said help, I would have remained helpless. I definitely think that soldiers are stronger when they realize they have a problem and they ask for help.
So they say it's a man's world? Well, I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were out doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. We changed all that. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Now back to Troy TrojanVision News Weekly.
Tuesday was election day. However, once election night rolls around, it usually means curious voters glued to their TVs to find out the up-to-the-minute results of the day's races. Lauren Harkson had the opportunity to take a look behind the scenes of what goes into some of those news stations' preparations for the big night at a watch party in the capital city.
Election day, exciting for some, nerve-wracking for others, and busy for people other than the politicians. Viewers watch the polls roll in on election night and keep their eyes glued to the television to see the results. All reported on by, you guessed it, reporters.
Election day is important, and as a journalist you always want to cover the important issues and make sure that you're showing people who watch what's going on in their community. There's no day where that's as important as election day.
But do you know what kind of preparation actually goes into this big day?
I know before I became a journalist, I had no idea how much work went into it. I think a lot of people wouldn't know that the person that you see on camera actually did all of the behind the scene work to make that happen.
And though for the viewers at home, it may look like election night could be a breeze for reporters, it actually takes tons of hard work and weeks or months of preparation.
It is months in advance. You're watching the campaigns as they go on. You know, we've been covering campaign stories since some of these people announced their candidacy.
And after researching and preparing for the big night, including finding old stories to remind viewers of each candidate, Election Day finally arrives.
This morning I woke up at 6 and I'll be working tonight until probably close to midnight.
We're waiting for the polls to close, for all the numbers to come in.
When I'm here, I'm going to be looking at Twitter. I'm going to be looking at election results. I'm going to be checking the Secretary of State's website.
As soon as the polls close, we have to be ready because we never know exactly when that person is going to come out. And of course, we want the best interview. So we have to be ready with anticipation.
And being able to stay on their toes to keep viewers updated as soon as they are is more difficult than you might think.
You just have to be ready just in case something bad does go wrong. You don't really know what can happen. You have to be prepared for that unknown so that you can be ready for just about anything.
But when it all comes together, it makes for a flawless newscast for you guys, the viewers.
Works of art can inspire many different feelings depending on who's looking at it. However, a performance this weekend by the Department of Theater and Dance shows how art can directly inspire someone to dance. Julie Prack shows us how.
Starting November 8th at the Trojan Center Theater, the Department of Theater and Dance presents Art in Motion, a fall dance concert.
Our inspiration was about like art in motion, which is the title of the show. And we wanted to take like visual art and somehow create movement based off of that. So we collaborated with student artists on campus, and they would create art, and then we would collaborate with them, and that would influence our movement, and it would also influence their process as far as what they wanted to create.
The choreography of the show is created by students, and it is an unusual thing here, as every single fall, all the shows are student-run shows.
We actually had to submit our ideas if we wanted to choreograph back in the summer, and then we have an intensive every single year before the school year starts where we get new students coming in, and we audition for these pieces then. And then when the school year starts, we're off to the races getting prepared for the show.
Art in Motion is a collaborative effort between artists and dancers in order to create a unique experience. Additionally to the dance concert, there will be art display both on stage and in the International Arts Center Gallery at Troy University.
In this lobby, there will be kind of an exposition where the work will be showcased. And before every single piece, we have projections of the artwork on the screens, on the fabric. That will go before each piece, which kind of introduces the piece.
Art in Motion will be performed November 8 through 10 at 7 p.m. and November 11 at 2:30 p.m. at the Trojan Center Theater. Julie Prax, TrojanVision News.
Well, it's time for our last break. When we return, we'll learn about this year's ISCO Festival. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally. I did. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls.
But did you know terracloth diapers breathe better? I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that strollers have the right of way on a sidewalk?
Yes.
Yep, I did. Did you guys
Did you know that kids who eat breakfast have higher GPAs?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's actually what I was going to say.
Did you know babies should never touch silver? It's really bad for them.
I knew that.
Did you guys know that statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
I'm putting that on my blog.
I just put it in mine.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
The International Student Cultural Organization is getting ready for their annual ISCO Festival. We'll get a preview of the festival in this week's Trojan Talk. Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. My guest today is An Nguyen. She's with the ISCO, the International Student Cultural Organization here on campus. Thanks for joining me here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name is An Nguyen. I'm a junior accounting major and I'm an executive member of ISCO.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about, first off, before we get into the festival itself, tell us a little bit about what is ISCO, the International Student Cultural Organization. Let us know what it is.
So every month, twice per month, we will have meeting in Hal Hall at 7 p.m. And every night we will have a different country. They come and share a little bit about their culture and sometimes their food too. And executive meeting is at 6 p.m. We will have planning and we will discuss what we do for each semester.
All right, and having an organization like this on campus, and you hear the word international in the title, and a lot of people assume it's just for international students, but that's not the case. This is for all students, right?
Yes, I would say that it's for everyone. And I think that the mission of ISCO, the most important one to us, is to bridge the gap between American and international students. Actually just yesterday, we just had a meeting with Dr. Jack Hawkins, and we mentioned that it seems like we're so different because Troy is really diverse. Students come from different places around the world, but once you get to know someone, you would know that we're more similar than we thought, and that's what ISCO is about. We want to bridge the gap. We want to let you understand our culture, and then we get to know about American culture as well.
And at those meetings, you'll see a lot of American students at those meetings because it's an educational experience, and it opens the eyes to these Americans about some of their fellow students and where they come from.
Yes, definitely. And it's open up for everyone, and it's free too. So, and it's a lot of fun. So why not?
And of course, the big event every year. You have the weekly meetings, but an event that everybody looks forward to is one we're talking about today is the ISCO Festival. And tell us what about the ISCO Festival and what it's going to do.
I'm really excited about ISCO Festival. It will be next Thursday at 6 p.m. TC Ballroom, and we will have a dinner buffet and entertainment from different places around the world. It's a great opportunity to see other cultures and especially to meet international students too, because a lot of us gonna be there. A lot of us will perform. A lot of American students will come too.
And this is one of the things is not necessarily just for students. This is open to anyone who wants to attend, correct? So this is an opportunity whereas students, I know, attend the meetings every week. This is one of those things where the community members have a chance to come and get to know all these international students that are here on campus. And I know that as someone who's from Vietnam, I know that's got to be an exciting possibility to meet some of the members of the community and to be able to share your culture with some of these people here in Troy.
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot of people from the surrounding area, from Troy, from Alabama, come to our event, come to our festival every year. The Board of Trustees, and sometimes Dr. Hopkins would be there.
And so, and this event is you mentioned it there, but it's a full-blown festival. It's food, it's entertainment.
Yes.
So when you get the ticket, you're in for a fun night, right?
Yeah, it's a fun night and a lot of good food.
A lot of good food. And so can you give kind of us an idea of maybe what some of the entertainment we'll see this year will be like? What folks can expect for entertainment-wise?
We have African dance, Nepalese dance, and we have a lot of singing, poetry reading as well.
And a lot of the singing, are we going to hear singing in native languages from people singing from the country they're from?
Yes. A lot of people will perform in their native language and they will wear their traditional costume as well. So I'm really excited to see that. And also we have some American students who play country music and pop music. So it's a good mixture of everything.
It's a true international experience because it's American and some stuff from other countries. Now, I know there are tickets available right now for it. So let us know, how can someone get a ticket for the ISCO Festival if they're interested?
Yeah, so you can get tickets from any ISCO member or contact Professor Joe McCall and the international office. Ticket is $10 for student and $15 for non-student, and that includes everything: meal, entertainment, and a good time.
And a good time.
Yeah.
And once again, for anybody that's trying to plan to come, when and where will it be?
It will be next Thursday, November 15th at 6 p.m. TC Ballroom.
All right. Well, it sounds like an exciting night. I know this ISCO Festival is always fun and folks have a blast. And relatively, I would say, an inexpensive night of fun. And then you open your eyes to some international experience here on campus. Good luck with the event. And thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thank you. And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk. And that's what happened this week. To find out what's happening throughout the week, you can tune into Troy Trojan Vision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30 Monday through Friday, or anytime by following us on Twitter at Troy TV News. Also, feel free to like our Troy Trojan Vision News fan page on Facebook to see links to online content from Troy Trojan Vision News. We hope you join us again next week for another edition of Troy Trojan Vision Weekly. Have a good week.